Hey, Laura. All right.
My husband was so mad.
All right, you guys ready? Okay, good evening. I would like to call to order the December 16th Ross ADR meeting. Before I do anything else, I'll open it up to public comments. If anyone wants to talk about anything that is not on tonight's agenda for up to 3 minutes. Oh my God, we have a taker for the first time ever.
Really?
Please, Elizabeth.
Is this on?
Yes.
So I have a suggestion for you to consider at some point, and I've mentioned this to some of you in the past. A lot of times these building projects turn into civil wars with the neighbors, and sometimes I think a root of that is that people seem to be asked, do you approve of it, do you not approve, and they have to sign that. Years ago, I remember that I think the town required a property owner to get the signatures of all the neighbors that said that they saw the plans, but not that they said yes or no. And more recently, I've seen like some of the architects have plans and a sign-up sheet that says I approve or I don't approve. And I don't know that we really need, it shouldn't really be the neighbors deciding, it should be you all deciding. Neighbors can certainly make a comment to the owner or to you guys or to the planner. But I think that if we moved away from, do the owners approve, yes or no, that might be a more civil process, and neighbors would certainly know about the project because they'd be required to sign that they saw the plans, but not that they approve the plans. So that's my suggestion for you to consider.
Thank you. And actually, we did do away several years ago with the form that used to say, I approve or don't approve of these. And so people do not need to go do that anymore.
Though I've seen some architects have that.
That's something they're doing on their own that is not
Maybe we could,
required.
if you agreed, maybe we could discourage that too. It depends on what, how you.
No, we do agree, and that's why we changed it. We do agree with you, and so that was done away with, and I'm not sure why they're doing that, but the reason we changed it was exactly for the reasons that you just said.
And are neighbors still expected to sign that they saw the plans, or is that not part of the process anymore?
That's not even part of the process either, because they're notified. And
Okay.
we felt that even that, which, although we all agree it's nice when people do that, even that can often lead to problems because then the people are thinking they have right to approve or disapprove of their neighbors' things instead of bringing it here, instead of trying to take away their neighbors' property rights outside of either the ADR or the town council meetings.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Would anyone else like to comment on something not on the agenda? Okay, we can move on. The next item is the approval of the minutes for November 18th. They looked good to me. I would suggest we approve them unless someone has a change on them.
Do have a comment on them. I think we needed to add in on the conversation. Let's see if I can find them really quickly. I apologize. Not seemingly getting them. We had a project that we looked at with the garage with the peak roof. I'm trying to remember. That was the second one. It's 12 Madeira, I believe.
Yep.
No, wait a minute.
I don't remember the address,
Yes,
but
it's
I remember the
Madeira.
garage with the peaked roof.
Yeah, so we actually, I think Stephen actually said we couldn't really support the additional square footage over the variance for the extra square footage. It was like 78 square feet or something like that.
Correct.
That is not included in the minutes, and I think we all generally agreed on that.
Yes, we all did.
Yeah, so that should be probably added, that we didn't, not approve, but we didn't support the idea of going for the floor area ratio variance.
Right, and it was discussed that they would redesign it without that.
Correct, yeah. I just want to make sure that got into the minutes.
Yep. Good.
One other thing I wasn't sure about, it said that we agreed to remove the 25-foot height requirement for it to explore dormers and architectural features that better integrate the ADU into the main house. We talked about that, but I don't know that we were saying that that would be okay.
I think what we said was that we would, what we said was that we not necessarily would remove it, but that we would consider waiving or making an exception to that if there was a compelling, beautiful architectural feature that required a higher ridge line.
Okay, so maybe the notes should get adjusted for that.
Any other comments on the minutes? Okay.
Would the ADR like to see them again, or just approve them with these amendments?
Approve them with those amendments.
I could second that.
Thank you. And then, just for those of you that haven't been to the ADR before, the way this works is for each project that comes up, there are 2 tonight, the town presents them briefly, and then the owner and/or their design team can speak about them, during which point the ADR members might want to ask questions for clarifications and comments. After that's all done, we open it up to the public. If there's anyone who wants to comment on the project, whether it's a neighbor or just anyone else in the town. And after that, we bring it back to the ADR and the ADR only to make our recommendation to the town council. For the first item of 2 Shanley Lane, I will be recusing myself because I live close to the property. So Joey will take over for this.
Hi there. Okay, so we would like the town planners to present the project.
Okay. Good evening, ADR members. Tonight, the applicant and homeowner at 2 Shanley Lane is requesting a recommendation to the town council for a design review, a minor exception permit, and a variance. The project is proposing to demolish the existing angled garage and reconstruct it to align it with the main residence. The new garage will remain the same size and will match the main residence. And here's elevation of the existing garage and what they're proposing to do. These are the materials. Okay. The project is also includes rehabilitating the rear yard by removing the existing kidney-shaped pool and constructing a new rectangular pool within the rear yard setback. Additional site improvements include a 7-foot side yard fence along the west property line, a new 6-foot front yard fence along Fernhill Avenue, and the applicant is also proposing to relocate the pool equipment to the southeast portion of the lot, also removing portions of the existing wood deck and installing new stone paving and artificial turf, as well as constructing a trash enclosure in the front yard. All right. Staff recommends that the ADR group supports design review, a minor exception permit, and a variance for the reconstruction of the garage to align it with the main residence and the construction of a new rectangular pool, since it will be 10 feet from the side and rear yard property lines. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Would the applicants like to propose or present their project?
Hello, ADR members. My name is Keith Curley. I'm the architect on the project, and I'll be presenting the garage portion of the project, and then Michael Yandel will present the landscape portion. Do you mind pulling up the site plan? Do you have A011, Alex?
Yeah. A01.
I think might be, and you guys have printouts of this on your desk as well.
Sorry, what was that again?
A011, I think, is a good one to start with. So as Alex just walked through, we're proposing to demo the existing garage. As you can see in the existing garage plans on the demo plan, it's an odd shape right now. It's a parallelogram. with a flat roof. It's in pretty rough condition in its existing state. I know you guys have been out and saw it on site. So we are proposing to replace it with a new garage, the same size, 484 square feet. The existing garage, though it sits within the side yard setbacks, it actually, you can see in a little sliver right now, it encroaches currently into the front yard setbacks. Or if you go to the, with the pointer, thank you. See if I can do this here. It's very small. But if you were to look at the existing demo plans, there's actually a existing encroachment of this garage right now into the front yard setback in this zone right here. That's about 15 square feet. So we're proposing to replace the garage with a new rectangular shaped garage that fits with the existing architectural character of the house, similar or same exact finishes. The siding would match the existing siding of the home, which is a gray shingled or clapboard siding. Windows would match the existing finish of the home's windows, which are a black color. New asphalt roof, and the new, the existing structure, as you guys have seen on site, is not beautiful from an architectural standpoint. So if you don't mind going to the elevations maybe for a second here. Down, down. Try to turn this off. The front elevation is a good one to point out here. So the new garage has a new, pitched roof to match the existing hip roofs of the existing house. Again, similar siding, new garage doors. And the variance is required. We needed a minor exception for the replacement of the existing garage because it's over the allowable FAR in its current state, but through a minor exemption, we're allowed to replace that with a new 484 square foot garage. But as we were doing that, the new garage is sitting 6 square feet into the side yard setback. So we're asking for a variance for this little sliver that it's sitting within the side yard setback, which is shown, I'm sorry, back on the site plan again, if we go back to that. Keep going up. That is right here. This is probably a good one. So it's this little sliver right here. And and just to point out again, the existing garage is actually sitting out here and has a 15 square foot encroachment. And so we're actually reducing the amount of encroachment into the side yard. And when we positioned, you can see this dashed line right here is the outline of the existing oddly angled and shaped garage. We positioned it to kind of average the front setback on that existing setback of the garage, so right in the middle. And the same is happening on the bottom side here. But again, there's this little corner that's sitting within the side yard setback. And that's all I have for the garage. Do you have any questions before I hand it over to?
I have a quick one.
Yeah.
It looks like on the elevation, the plate line of the garage does not quite align with the portions of main house that are kind of equivalent.
Yeah.
Is that intentional there?
Let's go down and check this out.
For the potential ADU to exist above. It seems like it's true that that one's a little higher.
Yeah. We were, because it's both set in front of that existing, here, let me turn this back on here. It's set both in front of the existing connector. The plate line is, from an architectural perspective, I think it was okay to break it up to actually make it aligned more with the addition.
I think it's great to not align here. I was thinking
Yeah.
align it with that.
Oh, with this guy.
Like raise it up a little.
We could.
Maybe there's math for the ADU maybe there's math for the ADU that says that would be a bad idea.
There's a piece of that is tied into this proposed potential ADU, which is dashed in an outline here. So that was, I apologize, I meant to mention this as well. So as a part of this we showed in the elevations working with the planning department, the dashed outline of what it, sorry, give me 1 second, my phone is going off here in my pocket. Dashed outline of a potential future ADU that would go over the top of this garage, which throughout the discussions on the right, yes, yep. And there's a piece on the right as well here, so it would sit on this dashed area right here above the roof of this ADU, and there's a portion as well that's shown that's in towards the front yard, or where the front yard setback is of the house. And so that dashed line there, this plate is partially set up to break it from this connector piece, and then also set up so that plate height allows in the future, should the ADU go in, for that to stay under the height limits.
And if it were higher, it would not allow.
If it were higher, it would just bring down the plate height of the upper floor, so the ceiling would be a little lower. Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Quick question then.
Sure.
Did you just take a look at moving this to the east by 1.5 feet and not needing the variance in the backside? On the,
Can we go back to
the west side?
site plan for a second?
I mean, you described you averaged out the location of the west and east walls. Can you just, move it a little bit so you don't need that side yard area? Is that better?
Yeah, do you mind going up a little bit more until we hit the floor plan? Yeah, this one right here. So the further it pushes up in plan here, the closer it gets to the new front yard fence and starts to pinch off the new driveway that's coming through, which Michael will walk you through. So we were playing with trying to push it as far forward, but to keep ability to get parking into this new driveway that cuts through.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, that explains it. Thank you.
No problem.
I have a question for staff that I should have asked after you presented. I think in the code it says that when you have a property that fronts on 2 streets, the longer of the 2 frontages shall be construed as the front of that property. Is that, or no, is it the short one?
Short
I have it
one.
reversed. Thank you. Cool.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got it. Cool.
Does anyone else have any questions? So there's the variance for that little triangle
Yep.
you're here for, and then there's a variance for the pool equipment and the setbacks, and the 6-foot fence, which is basically copying what's there and just putting another one there that's 6 feet to the right of the garage.
To the, so the 6-foot fence, if you, and here's Michael.
Well, yes, okay,
Standing
thank
right
you.
behind me.
Does anyone have any more questions of the architect? Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So just to quickly clarify and correct me, Alex, but the variance is just for that sliver. It would be design review for the 6-foot high fence, and then also a variance for the pool because it's not in the setbacks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members. Michael Yandel, landscape architect. Good to see you guys again. Good to see you again. I will be brief. I love presentations, but I'm going to be brief here. This is pretty simple. But this is the best graphic, I think. I just thought about it yesterday, just to let you know exactly what we're doing out there with all these fences. And I did want to touch on, is this working? I just wanted to touch again on how the setbacks are applied to this. Fern Hill is considered the front, but it functions de facto as a side yard, obviously, to the front of the house. This is clearly the front, the streetscape right there. But for the technical front of the property is right here. These are the 2 sides, and this is the rear. So that's how the setbacks are applied to this lot, which is a little bit odd. So in this graphic, the red is 7-foot fence, the green is 6-foot fence, and the blue is 42-inch height fence. This fence that we're asking for at 7 feet is the common fence between my client's property and the adjacent property, and they both are requesting that fence at 7 feet. What we're doing there is tearing out the entire Algerian ivy mess that is back there. It's just a rat's nest and a falling over fence, putting a proper fence in, horizontal fence, staining it black, and then planting it with significant buffer to create that privacy that they both want. So that 7-foot fence comes down and it ties into what we're requesting is a 6-foot fence that runs for 35 feet along Fern Hill. There's a significant amount of planting that's out here on the street frontage, and it all stays. You really don't see this fence as it comes down. But it is in the front setback, and the requirement is you can have a 4-foot fence, but you have to get a variance to get a 6. We think there's reasonable findings to allow that. So it runs for 35 feet, it turns back towards the house, it returns again to create this trash and recycle enclosure, open air, and then that fence returns over to the house. We step off of the 6-foot fence right there because we want this to read like, well, one, you don't want to crowd the corner with fencing, and particularly not a 6-foot fence. So it drops to 42 inches there, wraps across the front of the house, ties back into a revised 6-foot fence that runs around the whole rest of the property. So there's our fencing schematic, in case anybody went out there and couldn't figure out what the heck's going on. So yes, the second part of it is the pool. They wanted a rectangular pool so they could have a cover and mitigate evaporation. And it's already in a rear yard setback. I don't think that we're impacting anybody any further with this location. I'm kind of a nut for symmetry, as you guys know. I don't want to keep pushing it that way in the yard because it starts to mess around with these adjacencies and it pushes this seating area right back to these steps and it just pinches it too much. The second component of it is this pool equipment. We think this is the best location for it. Yes, it's in the rear yard. Yes, it needs a variance, but it's pushed up against Shanley Court. The turnaround for Shanley is right here. So it doesn't address any common neighbor property line. It addresses the street. And the way we have it planned is there's a 10-foot buffer, then a 6-foot fence, then what you call English laurel hedge, and then this enclosure. These enclosures that I've been using are Acoustibox out of Australia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. They're fantastic. They're pre-engineered for sound mitigation. They have all their specs that meet the sound mitigation that they're supposed to do. So you're not guessing about whether it's going to meet any of your sound requirements. So we really think that's the best location, and we think you should be able to make findings for it. The rest of it, if you run back to that fencing diagram, we are changing the paving to bluestone. We're getting rid of some wood decks that interface with the house because of Marin wildfire. They don't want decks meeting houses anymore. We have a 5-foot band of black Mexican pebble that runs all the way around the perimeter of the house.
What?
Black Mexican pebble.
Oh, okay.
It runs around the perimeter of the house. That's another fire mitigation technique. We're replacing the existing driveway with just a new pervious paver. It's just linear, nicer look. And then of course, we have all the plantings that I typically do. And low voltage lighting. I think that's it.
I have a question for you on the driveway and the access to the garage. It looks like the gate doesn't open right in front of the garage, but rather at the two sides. Is that correct? Is that?
It is. There are two sliding gates. One slides that way, one slides that way.
And the garage is two individual doors. I have a garage that you have to turn into,
you have
and
to-
it's kind of annoying.
This is Ross. That's, they want to be able to pull a car through and on a kind of a daily basis, like most of us do. You pull in, you park actually parallel with the front of the garage, and then easy to pull back out.
Okay, so is the garage actually used for
Oh, yeah.
cars?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they'll use it at night, but these are young parents, they're back and forth all day.
Can you walk me through the pool equipment? First question would be, where's the pool equipment today?
Pool equipment today, where am I? Right there.
So the corner, inside corner of that house. Okay.
Yeah, it's shoved up against that really beautiful glass room in the living room, and it doesn't let that breathe, and I'd like to get it out of there.
So the way it's presented here, it looks like it's right against the property line or awfully close to the property line. So you mentioned some buffer. What is the buffer between that enclosure and the property line / court? And do we know the distance between that and the adjacent home? Because there is a home not that far, almost equidistant from this
Over
piece
here?
of property. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're about, you've kind of placed it in between the two homes.
The driveway comes up
Yeah, yeah.
right here.
But talk
House
to me a
sits
little
over
bit
here.
about the buffer you were describing. Where exactly is, you mentioned?
Well, it has the existing buffer that's all in this area here.
Okay.
It's out of the street frontage, and none of that comes out, it all stays. Yeah, or put that section up.
Yeah. So Michael, there are some trees on the inside of that property line fence, is that correct? Because the driveway goes essentially right up to the fence line. I'm just looking at a photograph I took the other day.
This one?
There's some ivy. Yeah, there's some ivy that runs along that fence line on the driveway side. And on the inside of that is some
So
plantings.
All of this stays.
Okay,
The buffer is outside of that line that's right there. So we're going to put the fence on the property line, like it is currently. Same shape. Put a English laurel hedge inside of that, if you look at that section, and then we're going to place that element, the enclosure. right there.
thank you.
Out of curiosity, this acoustic box, you just place, I mean, I'm actually curious about this product. You just put it in the landscape and it sits like this. You're not going to enclose this in anything. Okay.
They're great. I've used a couple just up on Lagunitas. You'd never know they were there.
Great.
And it's great for the client, too. We just think they're kind of common sense solutions that we're presenting here.
Exactly.
That make sense for the property, and it's up to you guys to opine on.
One last question. What are the dimensions from the proposed pool to the two property lines that it's closest to?
I think they're both dimensioned. There's one right there. Oops. Can you scoot that down again?
Okay.
There's one right there.
Got it.
and
Thank you.
One right there. Why does this look so squashed?
So it's 11 feet and then 13 feet?
Yeah, it's 11 on the rear here.
Yeah, it makes it look like the pool is fat.
And
In fact, it's much more linear.
what were the setbacks of the kidney-shaped pool?
12, 10 right here, and then 15 rear. And the side is like,
This one, that's rear.
that's 15 feet, 6 inches.
So it's 15 in the rear, and we've gone further than that.
And
And the side yard,
This
That's-
is the rear, this is the front.
I
I don't
think,
think we're in the side yard setback.
So the existing one is 15.6, or no, 12.10 on the rear, but 24/7 on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. This is just, lot confuses me because of, yeah, it's all the rear. Does anyone else have any questions?
I do, Michael, or maybe this is for Keith. I'm curious about the driveway navigation kind of plan. So there are two gates that are motorized with a solid section in the center, a fixed section in the center. Is it possible to navigate into the garage
Oh, I think it's,
with a 20-foot radius, the outside radius of a car? It doesn't
I
appear
think
as if
it's,
it
I
is.
think it's several turns to get into the garage.
Several turns, several points.
Why wouldn't you just have a straight shot?
Well, I can ask my client, but they liked, like I explained, they like going through on a daily basis and not backing out to take off. So their movement is come in, parallel the front of the garage on a daily basis and go back out. And they might even park there at night.
Okay.
It's not ideal, and it never was.
I think that's great. Any more questions? Thank you, Michael. We would now open it up for public comment. Each person, you can speak for up to 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. It's quite a bit. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh, gosh. Don't worry.
My name's Douglas Moore, Doug Moore, and my wife Michael is behind us. We've lived at 1 Shanley Lane, immediately across the street from 2, for 56 years. We've suffered 2 disastrous floods in 1982 and 2005. We obtained permission from the town to raise the house the second time. And we were permitted to raise the house 3 feet above mean flood stage. We still have flood problems because as you all know, the Corps of Engineers hasn't really finished the fixes. And we still have some drainage issues. Let me get this out of the way so I can stand up here. The flooding in the lane and on our house and the 2 houses at the end of the lane and the house in question are caused by a combination at the same time of high tide, heavy rain, and then the water department opens the weir on the dam at Phoenix Lake. And in recent rains, with the king high tides that we had in the last week or so, the lane has flooded about halfway up. So we still have the flooding issue. We are particularly concerned about the flooding. With respect to the pool, the enlarged pool, there are, I think you all know, there's some new codes for swimming pools and surface drainage. And I don't think this is compliant with those new codes. The king tides are a thing we have every winter. You saw the article on the front page of the paper this morning that it's really a problem, serious problem elsewhere in Marin County. So we're concerned about the drainage. And if you look at can you put up the one with the pool? you can see there's really a very good chance for drainage to come back out of that area where the pool is going to be enlarged there. I should have started with the situation. In October, we were shown plans for their application here, which showed a two-story addition above the garage. And the neighbors came over and kindly showed that. And Alex went through the plans with us. And we objected to Alex and to the neighbors that the second story would take away privacy and just overload that lane was just little tiny houses till not fairly recent. And so we looked at the plans, and I did not see these plans until this week. They put up story poles. The story poles did not conform to what I saw in the original application. And I called Alex, and he said they have new plans coming. They'll be available Friday afternoon. I called, and I left a message, and I didn't see the plans until midday yesterday. And my wife is still cogitating about them. This is, in my view, and I'm a retired judge, I've seen a lot of bait and switch, and this is a classic bait and switch. That I'm told, and we heard tonight about ADU, that the reason they're doing a new garage so it can take the weight of an ADU on the top of the existing house and the garage. I think this is a.
So,
yes.
sir, I hate to tell
I know
you, but-
I know the ADU is before you.
No, you are over the 3 minutes.
Oh.
But we get the gist of what you're saying, and I understand your concerns. Would you like to conclude?
Well, I just think, I think somebody ought to look at the drainage.
Sure.
Because we have a high crown on Fern Hill, and that discharges into the lane. And then we have the runoff from this property. Our property's a little lower, and then the houses at the end of the lane.
Okay, we will definitely take a look at that. And just so you are aware, we are not
I know you can't.
permitted to opine on the ADU
Yes.
situation. So that is out of our.
I understand that, and you have no way to stop it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and regarding permeability,
Yeah.
pervious and impervious surfaces, they have to, in order to get this pool built, they have to comply with very rigorous standards of not increasing any impermeable surfaces. So they have to figure it out. Michael Yandel has to do a whole calculation to make sure that they are not adding impervious surfaces to that piece of property.
Well, I think that's what the new codes to the swimming pools does.
But just for any project, they cannot add any more surfaces that are not permeable. So you should rest assured
Well, I
that-
think the new code says that the swimming pools are not impermeable, that the water can, I don't know, I just seen the new codes.
Yeah, I think you could be just rest assured that there will be no more impermeable surfaces from any pool that he would be able to get permitted.
Okay.
And that would go through design review. He would not be able to increase the impervious surfaces. Would you all agree with that assessment?
no.
That's generally what we pay attention to, but thank you, Mr. Moore, for your comments.
Could my wife get 3 minutes if she wants to talk?
Sure. Thank you. reduce?
The entire front yard is impervious surface.
Pardon?
The entire front yard almost is impervious surfaces done by the previous spec builder. It's some kind of tile that you asked not be used, that was used, I forgot the name of it. What is it, Doug? What is the stuff? Bluestone. What is it?
Bluestone, 4-foot bluestone.
And that's impervious. And we've lived with that for one winter already, and it's very dangerous. The houses at the bottom of the lane, the men were out there digging out so that it didn't flood their houses and their yard. So the impervious surface that's there should be taken out, actually. It's just the whole front yard, and it doesn't work too well. So that's what I have to say about that.
So they're actually, Mrs. Moore, they are reducing the impervious surfaces by 440 square feet on this project. They are reducing the impervious surfaces on this project. Yes. Well, it's a compilation of all the numbers for the whole property, but that's, I think. If we can stay dry. Well, can't promise that, but does anyone else in the public have any comments? Online?
No.
Okay, so we will bring it back to the ADR for comments and decision.
I'm happy to go first. I think that I can support this project exactly as presented. I appreciate that the fence is low along Shanley. I appreciate that there's planting planned in front of the fence line to kind of buffer it from the asphalt and the streetscape. I think that the variance for the garage is supportable, and I think the architecture looks great. I would suggest, if you can, raising the plate line to match that of the house, just because I think it'll look smarter, a little better. If you can't have the support of the math, then discard that comment, but I think it would be a little nicer. I think that the pool I can support as drawn. We're considering tonight a draft change to consider setbacks for pools and terraces that might change our code to suggest that an exemption is, you can seek an exemption for up to 10-foot setbacks. And so we're not going to talk about holding that project to those standards. But kind of when I think about the discussions we've had about that and look at the plan, first of all, I think that replacing the swimming pool in the rear yard with a new pool that is rectangular looks great. And I don't think it's going to exacerbate the current nonconformity of the activity in the rear yard or side yards, or if it's not in the side yard, just in the rear yard. So I think that no additional findings in this case kind of need to be made, is my opinion about the pool. The little pads, the seating pads that you have at the end of the pool, at each ends, one of them 6 feet away from the property line there. I think what we're going to try to adopt, or suggest that the council rather adopt, is a standard that allows 10-foot setbacks if you seek exemption. So I might look at that. I know you have symmetry around those pads, but there's very little space from that pad to the fence line, and we just want to make sure there's enough room for nice shrubbery and stuff like that. So I know you'll do a good job with the planting there. But so if you could pull that back to 10, that would be rad. If you can't because you're too tight, then just really make sure there's dense shrubbery at that end. I think the garage is great. The sliding gates, I mean, it's really tight, so I think we have to kind of think about or you've thought of a creative way to allow for parking to come and go here, and 2 cars can come and go into that driveway area with the 2 sliding gates. Sometimes we discourage 2 entrances, or discourage giving away too much of kind of pretty streetscape to driveways, but I think in this case that's warranted because there's really no place to go and for guests to park and so forth. I don't know why it's inoperable in the center, but I guess it's because of the ADU or something. I don't know. I'm okay with that too. So I can support the project as designed. I think I'm also comfortable with the pool equipment enclosure location, particularly with the enclosure that's provided. And that's it.
So in general, I feel comfortable with the changes to the garage. It makes sense to reorient it to align with the house. And matching the roof and the slope to the house makes sense too. To me, it feels like it's going to be hard to get in and out of the garage. So it sort of feels like it's just being set up in a way where all the cars are going to end up in the front yard. I mean, it's technically the side yard, but the front yard. Yeah, I would reconsider how to actually access the garage in a more functional way. The pool, I think you're replacing an existing pool. So yes, it's getting slightly larger and a little bit closer to the setback, but it, like Stephen said, doesn't really change the overall use of the space since it's existing. I think that makes sense. The pool equipment, I feel like generally is never allowed in setbacks. So I don't know, we'll see what other people think about it with this special enclosure. I'd be interested in using it for my project too. I think that's it.
All right, so I generally concur with most of my colleagues' comments. I think the permeable pavers in the front will help out with the drainage in the general area. We haven't commented on the fences. I think I could support the 7-foot tall fence on the west side as well, because it's mutual. 6 feet between these two properties is probably a little bit too short. The 6-foot replacement fence on the north side, I think is fine as well on Fern Hill. The trash enclosure, I think makes sense that it's open to the air and it's not actually a solid building. I concur also on the accessibility of the garage. I think it's making it extremely difficult to really park 2 cars in that garage, having to back out at an angle and somehow, you're tight. And I understand why you placed the garage where you did, because you're at about 20 feet to the sliding gate. It looks like just about 20 feet. That's tight for a car to get back out without bumping that gate. So that I would take a look at reorienting that and actually having the openings in the center, not 2 openings so you can do a U. Let's see, regarding the pool, I'm fine with what my colleagues have said. I think it's appropriate where it is. Pool enclosure, however, the equipment enclosure, I struggle with this a little bit, and I look for my colleagues' opinion. If this is so soundproof, then put it next to your house. Get it out of the setbacks. Like, just, if it's that quiet, it doesn't need to be sitting on the property line, 20 feet away from your neighbor's yard. Put it next to your house if it's that quiet. So I can't support that being there. While I appreciate the cut sheet, if it's that quiet, put it next to your bedroom. Other than that, I also agree with Steve, and if you could align those plate heights, it will make it much nicer. I think that's, those are all my comments. Thank you.
So I agree with Mark pretty much 100%. I support all the fence heights as shown, and I think there's lots of findings for why it's an odd lot. It's got a frontage that's not really the front, and the front is really the side yard setback. I can get behind all of the reasoning for the fences as well as for the pool. I think the garage rebuild is a huge improvement. I've always thought that was the weirdest looking garage, so I very much support that. I think the plate height, if you can, should be raised to the portion of the building that's one over, as you mentioned. And I also cannot support the pool equipment in the setbacks, at least not so egregiously in the setbacks. Maybe there's a better location that is a little more hidden. But no matter how quiet it is, it sets a bad precedent for future jobs. So those are my comments.
One more comment. There is the new stone paving patio in the center of the home, in the center of the west side lot. It's 3 feet from the property line. Did anybody have a comment on that in any way? Just, yeah, right here.
How
It's
far
just
is,
something
how far is
jumped
the
out at me.
existing deck?
Oh, it's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I can take a look, unless someone in the audience knows. There's none right here.
It's an existing stone patio.
Yeah, it comes right, does it come right to that point?
Thank you.
Okay,
It goes right through the property line.
okay.
Almost.
You pulled it back, but, okay, thank you, Michael. So,
It follows property line maybe 3 feet away from it, see where it says rock wall and stuff like that.
okay, yeah. That's, I just wanted to check, not increasing that, thank you. Yeah, we discussed that, so no other comments after that. I can support that.
So can I just summarize? Because there were a few comments, and I just want to understand whether you want to see this again, or if you're fine with them moving forward to the council. So for Stephen, you were fine with it. You want them to try to raise the height, the plate height, but if they can't because of the ADU, then that's okay. But also you want them to consider moving the pads 10 feet, because right now it's 6 and close to the property line, unless they have hedges or landscaping that would soften that potential impact. Is
Yeah,
that
hearing everyone, I think I'm fine with the 6 foot.
okay?
In this case, so you can strike that part of my commentary. And I think as you clarify, we should be clear, I kind of groused about the 2 entrances, and then the other members were a little bit more kind of firm that they think it's funny. And so we should ask ourselves or be clear with direction. Do we either want to see that again or not? Or as long as it goes to council with that corrected, or are you okay? Or we just think it's kind of funny, but we're okay if the council approves it as is with those 2 garage sliding doors. I don't know where I stand on that, but I'm just saying we're not giving very clear direction to the applicant or to staff to summarize either. So it's hard, right? So
Yeah, I forgot to mention the entrances and the garage. I feel like they're building this beautiful garage. We want to get the cars out of the driveways and into garages and off the streets, and there's no way to get into it unless you do a bunch of 3-point turns. So I would support saying make a proper gate entrance straight on into the garage.
Can I add some color?
Pardon me?
Can I add some color?
Oh, yes.
It was very intentional the way we laid that out.
you got to come speak in the microphone so the public, if there's anyone at home, can hear.
I know the protocol, and I had to say something. Mr. Yandel, once again, it's really intentional, splitting those entries, and it actually is a nod towards the neighbor. I didn't think the neighbor should be looking into the new garage doors that are right there. So our planting that runs across there allows for me to put 2 really nice trees, and they're not looking directly into the garage door nor the potential ADU. And the owners agree with it. They know it's ongoing.
Say that again?
The owners agree they know it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I can have to go over here to talk real quick. Also, just from looking at that, if we needed to, we could make it a single garage door. There's actually 1 legal parking spot in the garage. So we could go to a single wider door.
On the
which I
building.
think-
A single garage door on the building. Yeah.
What's that?
On the building, you could change to 2 garage
Yes,
doors.
yeah,
I think what
sorry.
everyone's consternated about is kind of how you could physically navigate through the sliding garage, or the gates, the sliding automobile gates, and possibly get into the garage, which
I think
don't-
it could help with the larger door as well, just in terms
It could. Yeah, it would.
Would you trade that architecturally from a design standpoint, the single garage door versus the double?
Are you asking would I prefer the 2 automobile gates with the pretty planting and a single garage door, or a single automobile gate with 2 or 1 garage doors?
That
2
is
garage
what
doors?
I'm asking. Yes.
I think it'll be kind of more handsome, but I think we're going to end up with the cars out in the driveway no matter what. So kind of prefer it the way they have it.
Well, I would say this, if it goes to a single opening in the center, the wideness of that driveway pad is because you can drive in and park 2 cars directly straight in, and then somehow try to get 2 into the garage, which is never gonna happen. So if you went to the center gate, you lose those side pieces, right? The 2 side parking spots. I guess you could maybe turn into them a little bit?
Oh, I see, right.
Yeah, which takes cars out of the front, driveway, really.
Yeah, but there's no place to park on the street. It's a really difficult.
Yeah.
Getting the cars off the street is hard, so I can appreciate it.
So let's try to give them exact direction. I actually, because of Michael's explanation, I've changed my mind on that. I think it will make your view better. The Moores will look at trees and landscaping instead of garage doors, and it might. Yeah, and it might block your view of a potential ADU if those trees get big enough, rather than looking at the opening in a gate and 2 garage doors with an ADU above it. I think it actually might. I've changed my mind, sorry. Okay.
Joey, so then on your side, it's just the pool equipment?
Correct.
Move it out of the setback and then they're fine? Or are you okay with where it's proposed?
Move it out of the setback.
Okay. And then Laura, if you want to summarize or if you have any changes.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if the driveway stays with the 2 gates as currently drawn to allow for the trees, for privacy for the neighbors, I suppose that makes sense, but I would encourage changing it from the 2 doors to 1 garage door so you have an easier chance of parking in the garage.
Thank you. And Mark Fritz?
Yeah, I think the pool equipment was the last piece of the puzzle. I'll defer to the rest of the group on the double gates, that's fine. Yeah, so that raised the plate on the garage, done.
Okay, and then for Laura, Mark Fritz, and Joey, it's move the pool equipment out of the setbacks?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We don't.
They don't make a motion.
We have no power.
It's pretty much it's a go-ahead. They don't need to come back to us. Okay.
Okay, thank you all. The next item is a conceptual review of 11 Woodhaven Road. Alex, would you like to present?
Yeah, good evening, ADR members. So the owner at 11 Woodhaven is here to present their project under conceptual review to construct a retaining wall with portions measuring between 6 and 8 feet. And we have the applicant here. Give me a sec, let me.
Do you want to bring up the?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. My name is John Simonik. I work with Steven over at Sutro Architects. And I'm currently working with Kathleen and Michael, the owners of 11 Woodhaven, on their improvement plans for the project. Michael is here with us tonight. We're here to get your thoughts on a proposed retaining wall for the property, but first a little bit about the property. Alex, do you want to go to the last page of the presentation? It's kind of like a 3D existing and proposed. And then just zoom out, or just go up to the proposed. Let's see.
Oh, the proposed. This one here?
Yeah, could you pan up towards the top, please? There we go. No, towards the top, the existing. Okay, so this is 11 Woodhaven. And we're viewing this from the south looking north. So at the south at the bottom is kind of like the low side of the hill, and this is kind of the top side of the hill. And so the property sits on a steeply sloping site, and so it's therefore subject to the Ross's hillside lot regulations. We've recently completed a geotechnical report with Andrew Scavullo, who's our most trusted and experienced geotechnical engineer. And we've determined that the lot is in kind of a landslide area. There's been two kind of within, the last 30 years, Michael, is that right? And we also learned through kind of a survey of the existing ground floor elevation that the house and some of the improvements have slowly been kind of sliding south on the property over the last like 70 years. So the most important part of the project that we're going to kind of share with you tonight is stabilizing the current site for the existing improvements that are on the property and for the future improvements on the property. So that brings us to the kind of the subject retaining wall. I guess we can go here. This is fine. Yeah. So the retaining wall we want to talk about is this one right here. It kind of runs all the way from the west to the east, kind of to the end of the driveway there. And there's portions of the wall kind of here and here, which are between 6 and 8 feet in height. So this wall, it's going to have really deep piers and potentially kind of horizontal tiebacks that go back into the hillside. And it's going to basically a big kind of dam for all the soil underneath to support the existing house and then the pool that's above. And so to the south side of this wall, which we've tried to show, we have plans to plant a native wax myrtle hedge all along here to hide the wall. And the full maturity of that hedge is going to be such that it covers that steel and wire railing to hide that wall. The other option, which is, is the prescription of the hillside lot regulations, is a second wall which would be terraced further down the hillside. And so if we terrace further down the hillside, it's going to mean greater disruption to the hillside. We're going to have to remove a couple of oak trees. And it's going to cause greater visual disruption to the downhill neighbor at 9 Woodhaven, who is the neighbor who would be most impacted from this wall. And it would be a big cost burden. Drilling piers 25, 30 feet deep isn't cheap. So it's a lot of money to kind of stabilize this hillside. So we realize this wall breaks kind of that 6-foot rule, but doing a single wall prevents, kind of further disruption of the hillside and all the soils on it in this kind of sensitive area. We think it's less visual disruption to that downhill neighbor, and we can look at some of the photos if we want, some of the existing photos on the prior page. If you go to the top there, Alex, and then maybe we can zoom in on these two at the top. So this is taken from 9 Woodhaven, both of these down here. And I tried to put in these little red lines right here and here. So right there, looking up through those trees, is the area where the wall would be the highest, between 7 and 8 feet. Again, it would be covered in front with a hedge. And then this is another portion of the wall, retaining wall, which could be viewed from the neighbor at 9 Woodhaven. This portion of the wall is going to be less than 6 feet. Again, it's going to be covered with the wax myrtle in front. And so, we believe that this is still kind of within the spirit of the hillside lot regulations, less disruption to the hillside, less visual disruption for, the neighbors around it. And lastly, I was talking to Michael before this, and I said, have you reached out to the neighbor to kind of get their thoughts? And they have, full support from that downhill neighbor who would be kind of most disrupted from this wall. So with that, Michael, do you want to add anything?
Sure, I got a couple comments.
A couple of thoughts, a couple comments?
Great. Thank you very much for allowing us to present today. The only comments, the downhill neighbor is obviously the most impacted by this. She's actually very happy that we're doing something to help stabilize this hillside because, the view here with the retaining wall at the bottom, there's about a 5-foot retaining wall and then a, 20 or 30 feet up to where our driveway is. At the ends of that wall that John showed, at the two ends of it, the bedrock is, relatively close to the surface, within 4.5 to 6 feet, 4.5 on the left side and 6 feet. But in the middle, the bedrock is as much as 20 feet down. So it's really important to kind of stabilize that hillside. Generally, we think it's better to have a single wall that's 8 feet because we can have a single hedge in the same way that there's currently a bamboo hedge that they want us to take out for fire reasons of not having bamboo, but we want to have a single hedge there along the driveway to cover that, and we really don't want to impact the 2 oak trees that are further down the hill, because it's those 2 oak trees that are really 3 oak trees that prevent the neighbor from even really seeing this at all. I think that's all the only comments.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I was wondering what the material is on the face of the retaining wall. What would you be cladding it with, or would it be board form concrete, or what color would it be? What would the neighbor be looking at before the plants grew?
It's a series of, or the prescription from the geotechnical engineer is piers that are drilled, so they're round piers, and a concrete wall would sit on top of that. And so the idea would be to slurry coat a stucco finish on top of the wall, and then perhaps paint it a dark green, so that it kind of blend. So when the leaves do start to grow, that it's kind of indistinguishable from behind, or camouflages kind of. I don't know if Michael and his wife have picked out kind of box sizes or how tall the hedge would be at planting, but maybe he knows.
No, we haven't. Yeah, we haven't got that far in the details yet of the planting plan.
I think that would be really important, just how big these plants are going to be, how you're going to protect them from deer, how you're going to make sure that becomes a green wall, because a lot of things don't grow near oak trees.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a quick question, like where the garage area is, it looks like the hedges are stepped like down some. Is there something, that green area, yeah? Is there some-
The idea, so they just purchased this property not too long ago and noticed all of the hillside kind of stuff, the movement. It's really a big bite, a financial bite to stabilize the hill. So they're thinking of taking the carport and transforming it into a garage at some point in a phase 2 or phase 3. And so we're kind of thinking about how the planting might be required to be 5 feet away from the wall. And so it's jogged so that it, in conception, might not, be afoul of the requirement of 5 feet.
Got it, thank you.
Right now, there's nothing kind of on that. That's kind of where the underside of those concrete piers are with the suspended deck. So that thing is, the carport and driving surface has that underside structure that's currently visible.
Is it the wall is coplanar with that existing structure, or is it south of that?
It's both. We could show on the, do you want to show, John, on the site plan?
The garage wall comes in about 2.5 feet from, or 2 feet 8 inches from the edge of the existing carport, so it gets pulled towards the house.
Oh, okay.
From the edge of
But it kind of bows and does weird things, so it jigs and jogs a little bit.
Okay.
But in that location, particularly where it's most pronounced.
That drawing right there, actually, that Alex was just on shows. If you scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you.
Not drawing.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
The dash line is that carport structure.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit back, a little bit forward. Okay, got it.
Pulled
Yep.
it back a little bit and then straightened the driveway, because any of you that came up to see it, it's incredibly difficult to turn around in this driveway right now.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed when I was there turning around. I'm like, oh, I see why they want to do this.
Yeah, I mean, the vegetation planning is, where there's railing, the vegetation is right up against the wall. Where there's either a carport or a potential future garage, that would be pulled back because of the 0 to 5 foot.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Well, my thoughts on it are that, I sort of went up there assuming I'd prefer to see 2 walls because 1, it's always cheaper for the owner, 2, it's easier to landscape, 3, it doesn't look as ugly even if there wasn't landscaping. But I was actually convinced on site that 1 wall does seem best for this, and 1, if you're drilling piers, the cost is actually less expensive to build 1 because of the oak trees. If they had to terrace it, one, it would be more disturbance to the hillside, and two, you'd then be planting even closer to the oak trees, which, as Joey pointed out, would make it harder to get landscaping in. So I think those are a couple good arguments for having one wall, which I didn't expect. And as you saw on the garage or the carport area, they're sort of pulling back in the wall some places, extending it other places, but it seems 6 in one, half a dozen the other. It's got the downstairs neighbor, got their buy-in. So for me, it seems like a good solution in order to stabilize this. It's horrible that they have to do it, but it seems like the best solution possible.
And I would add, I agree with what Mark said. I would add that, looking at the map or the plan, I saw the neighbor's house is kind of like closer. But when I was there, you're almost so high up and it looks like it's very much the back of their house with like equipment and things, maybe not as many windows or any like connection. Since it's so much higher, I feel like they wouldn't see it as much, personally.
I also feel that protecting those oaks is paramount for the lower neighbor, because at least there will be this huge wall, but it'll be softened by the oaks in front of it. So anything we do to save those, it's worth it to have just one tall wall. So I can support it as drawn.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the oak trees are the key piece there. I might recommend doing some sort of creeping fig or something on the wall itself, not just relying on things that are in front of it, just to soften it a little bit, the actual wall texture and whatnot. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, dark's good, positive.
And we're not talking about like the pool or anything else, are we? Yeah, which looks great. Like the pool looks great.
Would be about 6 feet. So when we do this wall, we're planning to do a lot of other additional retaining walls around the site, because there's a lot of wall work that needs to be done, not just stabilize the house, but to stabilize the pool that's above the house and the edge of the pool. So all that work would presumably happen at the same time. I think given the timelines of the project, we're most likely going to end up doing all the walls at once if we can. But that's going to be a substantial project, and then the house part could happen after that, given the time in between projects.
Okay, well, it seems like you have enough to go on for the conceptual design review, unless you have any further questions of us.
Nothing else requires design review. It's in the first phase that we're talking about, so this is
Yeah.
perfect. This is
Okay.
the feedback that everyone's looking for.
Great, thank you. Good luck. Good luck with everything, and we'll see you again at some point, probably. And then the next item is to discuss the setback exception process for pools and landscape structures. Is that you?
So good evening, ADR. Alex and I drafted, using kind of Woodside's template, a setback exception for pools and landscape, either features or structures. It includes the purpose, primarily that it would stop requiring the variances that you all have had to look at for pools. And it would also provide an equal process that doesn't matter what size your lot is if you can meet the 10 feet with the buffer. It provides that objective standard that all properties would need to meet, instead of case by case. Some people will have this setback, other people have less. So it's also clear in the procedures that it would be granted by the planning and building director. I should add probably, or their designee, could be either me or Alex, but that we would not in any case grant a setback exception that allows further encroachment than that 10 feet based on the table. So it would then allow us to say, if you want 9 feet or 8 feet, no, then you're asking for a variance, and that would allow you all to say there's no findings for that. Just meet the 10 feet. What else? And then they would also need to provide these findings. Simple, mostly that there's no impact and that it's consistent with the zoning and general plan. And then there's the table that updates the residential setbacks to what the setbacks would be for pools and landscape features, and then some footnotes. And just want to make sure we've captured that it's a 10 feet plus a minimum 3-foot planter, and then outdoor kitchens or built-in seating cannot be more than 4 feet, but also pergolas, trellises, fireplaces could be up to 10 feet. So those were some of the nuances that we kind of wanted to bring forward and see if you have any comments or if you're ready to make your recommendation to the council.
Sorry, just to clarify, the fireplaces and trellises, which can be up to 10 feet tall, they can now go to 10 feet of the property line, whereas before they were sometimes, 20 to, well, I guess 70 feet. But now those are 10-foot tall structures that might be 10 feet from the property line.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we said explicitly we didn't want that. Yeah, we don't want that last line
Okay.
at 4 feet.
4 feet,
Right, yep.
So we'll
That buffer,
strike
that zone
out that
between-
last.
The zone between the setback, the building setback and this 10-foot setback, we don't want anything higher than 4 feet.
Yeah. I have a question for how this applies regarding like sports courts and also pool equipment or something like that pool, the pump enclosure that we saw at one of these last projects tonight.
So this would not include sports courts at all.
Okay.
So sports courts would still, if they're in the setbacks, need variances. This is only for,
To our regular setbacks.
yes,
Okay, so there would be no 10-foot.
no.
Yeah.
That's
then-
been kind of a controversial use.
Yeah.
It seems like in the clarifications, we should expressly say that
Okay.
it excludes sport courts. And also, I think we should consider how high above the grade, or do we want to dictate how high above the grade a deck or terrace can be constructed? Or is that difficult to do within these zones? And I want to posit another thing for people to think about. I think the findings are subjective and difficult and maybe don't really accomplish the goals, which is that you have to say that you're not going to be injurious to a neighbor. You have to say you're not going to be, you have to make all these findings that are really hard to debate or have so much subjectivity, I think, in their finding that I don't know if we need any of these things.
I was thinking the same thing because the whole reason we're doing this is to make it
Objectify, to make it more objective.
and objective and not have to have them come before us or.
To be kind of prescriptive, like if it's no more than 4 feet and 3 feet.
You get it, you get it, you just get it. If it's this, you get it instead of having to fill out all these things about why, because then you'll get into where could you put it that would be better.
Right, the first one says there are no alternatives available. That's hard to
Yeah,
manage.
the alternative is just don't build it.
Yeah, build it in your courtyard.
That's
Well,
an
I like my
alternative.
courtyard, there's a tree there. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
no
hard to
pool,
deal with.
That's an
Yeah.
alternative. So there's always an alternative.
I agree with that. Like, we don't want the findings, right? That's practically what we're trying to do, is eliminate the findings.
Yeah.
We want to eliminate it coming to us.
Yeah. Nobody should have to, so what you're saying is if someone came with something that's 10 feet with a pool or a deck or something, they shouldn't have to provide this type of,
Yeah, it's a prescription.
documentation or even logical reasoning for why they want it there. They just get to put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You think
I
about
tend to
it,
agree with
a
that. Yeah.
landscaper, an architect has to show a bunch of drawings, like it could be here, it could be here, but we don't want it there, we want it here.
Right.
I think you can take that away.
So you're saying just take out, you're suggesting just take out all the findings?
Take out the section called findings entirely, I
Like
think.
why, yeah,
Yes.
why?
Yeah.
And then also, if you're saying exclude sports courts, you might also want to say pergolas, trellises, and And then maybe the fireplace thing could go in the under 4 feet section.
Sure.
Wait.
So hold on.
Fireplace should be, I think, 10 feet. Are you guys?
Right, no, I'm thinking like a fire pit.
Anything they want that's kind of little seating walls and things, and fireplaces included, as long as they're below 4 feet in height.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
10 feet from the property.
Yeah.
Correct.
Everything's 10
Correct.
feet from the property line.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then going back, sorry, we're jumping around a lot. Going back to what Stephen said with the how high should a deck be? Don't we have something in the town that limits those to like 12 or 18 inches above ground?
No, we have something in the
Because we don't
code
want
that,
someone building a 4-foot deck
there you go.
up to 10 feet.
There you go. But no, because that is defined as lot coverage.
That's right.
Or structural coverage, whatever.
Once it goes above 18
And so
inches.
you could have not exhausted your supply of that on your site, and so you still have allowable site coverage.
And then you got a 4-foot deck going
Yeah.
up to 10 feet. So we definitely
So
don't want
I think
that.
in this zone, this special zone between the normal native setbacks and the 10-foot zone, we're okay with things that are up to 4 feet if they're kind of, I don't know,
Structure.
yeah, little features, seating and kind of features. Or maybe,
Horizontal planes are at.
Joey, your mic is off. The recording wasn't picking up.
Horizontal planes, like a deck, would be limited to a certain number of inches
yeah,
off
meant for
of
walking. or
grade.
right,
9
meant-
inches? I don't know.
I liked
6
18.
inches?
I mean,
18 is a common used one, so you can grade a little bit.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that- I'm
Because it's hard if you want to kind of make something flat that's sloped. You got to cut in a little bit and,
Yeah.
you know.
So, sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. If someone builds an 18-inch deck and they're 10 feet from the property line and they're standing on it, then all of a sudden you're standing at 7.5 feet. If you have a 6-foot tall fence, you're sort of maybe looking over it, which is not what we want. So I'm wondering if it should be lower just in this zone. Obviously, if someone's 20 feet from the property line, who cares if they're 18 inches up? But as you get closer and closer to that 6-foot fence, and
Right.
most of the time.
But if
it's
there's
6 foot
any,
fence.
right, I understand, Mark, but if there's any slope at all to the topography, then we'd have to do like little tiny mini terraces or something. You know what I mean?
So you think 18 inches better even?
I think
if there's an
so.
example where you might be 10 feet away and 18 inches up and a 6-foot fence, which is obviously not ideal, but you think like, and I'm just asking, like, is maybe it's not a big deal?
I don't.
I'm thinking like, oh, I hope they plant a giant hedge that blocks the head view over the fence. I could see 18 inches and a 6-foot person having, neck over the fence line,
And
basically.
then you're Wimbayana.
Yeah, but the truth is the lots are big, most things are hedged and there's visual privacy anyway.
Yeah, I'm just divided on that.
What do you guys think about deck height?
I originally was thinking 18 inches, but
Now you're picturing Mark
I'm
poking his head
picturing
over the fence?
like a 6'4"
Yeah.
person.
We could do a chart based on the person's height.
What if Chip's there?
I do think that people want their own privacy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm the person with this deck that's 18 inches off, I don't want to look into their yard. It's not a goal of mine to like, so I think that would be okay. But is 18 inches as arbitrary as a foot?
Why don't we
Really
just say a
is.
foot because it's this closer area?
But I see what Steven's saying.
We can try it and see how,
Yeah, I
or we
think
can
that does make
try
it
to
a little
apply.
bit difficult from a grading perspective to get it, if it's, that corner is 14
because
inches
it's-
above the ground.
Does that mean because
Well,
it has to be 12 inches where the natural grade was?
We don't
or-
adjudicate that. We kind of say height is measured in our code between natural or finished grade.
Because once they finish the
I guess we
grade-
say
well,
whichever
they
is more
can just
punitive.
grade it and make it flat, like, it seems, you don't,
So it'll be all cut, no fill, basically, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay with 18 inches. Like truthfully, if it's a deck versus a patio, you're gonna want to build it so there's, so you can actually get some footings there.
By code, you have to have, I think, 18 inches of emptiness under a deck.
Right, something like that.
So you'd have to dig under to get air.
Yeah.
Is the idea that if we decide on 18 inches, that anything requesting above that would come through design review?
it would require a variance, which hopefully they'd be discouraged to do, because if it doesn't meet the prescription in this area,
Right, we're going to be very.
unless I guess they have a crazy hard
Like
lot that's really
topography.
difficult.
We'll be very
Yeah, sure.
restrictive about anything violating this in theory. Yeah.
So we're good with an 18-inch deck?
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think so.
18-inch deck.
It is 10 feet away. It's 10 feet away. So we're not talking, 2 or 3 feet.
I think the wording landscape features should, I like there's an asterisk, you can say, this includes terraces and patios and steps and paths wider than 4 feet, because those are currently limited. You can't do paths or stairs wider than 4 feet, I think, in the setback areas. But you can now do all those. So we want to list what you can do, kind of.
Okay. Like have a definition.
Yeah, like,
as much guidance as you would need to be able to know it falls on this
not to
side or
have to
that
debate
side.
what the landscape
Yeah,
features
you want to
term
be
means.
they don't want an exhaustive list, but you do want to know if they come through that you could say, oh, yeah, right. That's in the intention is, sure, great. We go there.
I still am, to circle back to that pool equipment enclosure. Curious where that falls in this. If it's not a shed with 8-foot ceiling or whatever, if it's in that, like that little box, would that be able to go 10 feet to the property line?
I think pool, I agree.
But you can, for pool equipment, you can technically apply for a minor exception permit and put it in the setback. The only thing is that you do need consent from the neighbor closest to that property line.
Does a minor exception?
But you also have to meet some findings like the dB, 55 decibels.
Does a minor exception, like, would that go through design review, or that's just?
Staff level, but we do
Okay.
have to notice it as well.
Got it.
That goes to notice. And there are some findings.
The decibel rating is a pretty lenient bar because it's over a 24-hour average. And so
It's off for 16 hours.
there you go. So it can be pretty loud and annoying, but still meet the decibel rating in the thing. So I agree with you that we should not include pool equipment so far in this more lenient section.
This extra area we're giving people should definitely not be electronic equipment.
Yeah, I would prefer to, if they do want to put that, either it goes through this existing exception or we get to see it.
Exactly, yeah, so this does not include mechanical or pool equipment.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's minor exception, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. It's, yeah.
I'd be so curious to really see, because
And
mine
also
is
like,
so noisy.
but yeah, maybe just a general term, because you don't want air conditioning units either, which are often less than 4 feet and often quite noisy. Power generators, I mean, I have a
that's
generator,
right,
and like,
generators,
it's really
yeah.
noisy, like, you don't want that thing.
Yeah, and that's
10 feet
part of
from
the
the property.
Those are also in the
minor exception. And you're only allowed up to 2 minor exceptions per lot, so.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Look at all this learning.
Oh, we have to go back to the record and see if they ever applied for one.
So then, just curious, would this would just come back next month to kind of look at all the details that we've discussed?
Yes, so this is just the form. We would actually have to codify this into the Ross Municipal Code. But I wanted to get this far enough along to send to the town attorney, and then we can craft the actual ordinance.
Great.
So
Do you need us
hopefully we'll
to-
have that. in
Do you need us
January.
to look at it like prior to the next meeting?
No, in the next meeting, hopefully you'll have the ordinance and this form, and then you can make your recommendation, and then it'll move forward to the council.
Great. So we would have said no, I'm thinking about that last project, just, we would have said no to that 6-foot section behind the pool. We just said, no, it doesn't meet our guidelines.
Yes.
Okay. You better get that in soon.
You mean the little
The little,
stone-
yeah, his symmetrical stone piece that was 6 feet from the side property line.
But it was intentional.
It's classical.
Actually didn't look big enough to hold chairs or anything.
Maybe one lounge chair. It seemed like it was, yeah, it seemed odd, but nonetheless. Okay.
Okay, so now move on to the calendar.
Yes. So the next meeting would be January 20th. Are there any proposed changes to the January ADR meeting? Okay.
Hold on. I don't think so. Let me just look.
And then February would be February 17th.
It's a school week that's off, so I'll be away. I don't know if other folks are.
I will be away for that week. and
I'm
the week
also
after.
gone.
One,
Okay, so then do folks want it the 10th or the 24th?
Either are fine for me.
The 10th, I won't be here the 24th, so the 10th is the only one that works for me, but don't let me be the
yeah, I'm probably gone that whole,
tail of
all
what's
three of
gone.
those dates, so I think I'm probably out anyway.
Stephen?
10th or 24th are both fine for me.
Okay,
Yeah, same with me.
Same.
and
10th is
Joey.
the only one that works for me.
Okay, so then, let's see, the council meeting is going to be on the 12th.
Is it easier
That's okay.
to
We
do the
can just-
24th then?
I'd rather have the buffer of one extra person for four of us.
Yeah,
'cause we already
just
know
in
you're
case
gone,
someone else,
and
because
we
I'm
already
going to be
know
gone
you're
anyway,
on
so
the
yeah, I think that's
24th.
better.
You're right, so the 10th.
Yeah, the
Be here
10th.
24th.
Right, so the 10th would be just maybe smarter. If
Okay,
you could
so we'll
the
do
10th.
February 10th, because Joey, you're not around the 24th, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Right, so you might have 4, or at least you get 3.
yes, exactly. Just in case something happens, we'll at least have 3, but
Yeah.
possibly 4. And then March would be March 17th.
I will be gone, but I'll be here the week before or after.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Okay, so then,
Is everyone else around? I think we should
Yeah.
leave it then.
Right.
okay, so just leave it as the 17th?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then
I'm here.
April would be April 21st. I don't know if that's spring break.
No, spring break is earlier, I think.
Okay, so that's okay?
I don't know.
No, it's not a Ross school holiday or.
Okay, so then we can leave it on the 21st
Yeah,
and May 19th.
hold on, no, that's getting into. it's the-
I think it's fine.
Fine with
Yeah,
me.
that's fine.
And then June 16th.
As far, like, I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, who
that-
knows?
Okay,
School gets out the 12th or something like that. I think you'll have a lot of people away on the 16th, but we can see later.
Yeah, we can maybe revisit that when we get closer and everybody
school
knows.
gets off earlier that week?
I
or-
think it gets out the 12th.
The 12th, I think, is probably the
11th?
last day.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably here. I don't know. I can't commit.
Are we,
I think we're okay. The
16th
only
of
change we have is February 10th.
yeah.
Okay.
Have we gone into July yet? I was.
No, we're gonna,
Let's just
wait.
leave it.
Off on that.
July is July 21st.
oh, no, we're going still. Okay.
I don't think, well, I mean, unless there's some holiday that falls on one of these, we could probably
Just do all the
do
Thursdays.
all of them on the
Okay.
3rd, and then
Yeah,
we revisit in 3 months.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we talk about the summer ones, like closer to it. just to
Sure.
Make sure.
So the only one
like
we'll
to get some
update is
travel.
February 10th.
I'd like to have a life.
Thank you.
Thank you. I move we adjourn the
Thank you,
meeting.
guys.
Second?
Third.